Happy New Year, Lee Camp.
Hey, man, how's it going?
It's going great, dude. It is a little after 8 o'clock on the East Coast right now, Monday, January 4th.
Yeah, getting late and naughty.
Is 8 o'clock pretty late, or?
Oh yeah, man. My quarantine bedtime is it's about 7:30.
So this extra half hour just gets naughty and crazy.
Yeah. So we had another boring day of the president openly calling for felonies to be committed. Just another day. It gets so boring, doesn't it? Every day you're like, can we get something new other than the president requesting felony election fraud?
It's you wake up this morning and I'm like, gee, I wonder what we're going to talk about on Government Secrets episode 23 with Lee Camp. And I'm like, I don't know. Is it a leaked phone call where he's calling the guy from Georgia going, no, I'm to make it Trump numbers. Find the numbers. I'm the number one Trump. So that's like the media. No, we're doing Trump media now. Just like he sounds insane.
Well, and the problem with him is it's like our politicians are so corrupt and he just doesn't know how to keep it a secret. Like the others, they don't. No, I don't know if there's any other politician who would just call and be like, hey, can you just fucking commit election fraud for me?
Yeah. Like, no, he doesn't. Like, they're at least aware that there might be some repercussions to this. They might get busted. Trump is just like, no, I'm Trump. I'm number one. I find the new numbers. Fix it. I won. And it's like, dude.
Also, my favorite part of that call is when he says, there's nothing wrong with just saying you recalculated and you found out I won by one vote. And we're like, yeah, we know in your mind there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like, it's kind of like a guy being like, listen, there's nothing wrong with like sometimes just kicking a puppy to death. Like sometimes just take your anger out. There's nothing wrong with that. Well, thank you. Now that I got your approval.
I want to try this approach with everything. I want to call up a bank and go, look, there's nothing wrong with on the computer and wiring $1 million into my account. I mean, it's all digital anyway. Like, what's the difference?
Amazing. But of course, we're into government secrets. That is not a secret because it's on every mainstream media channel. So instead, I think we're going to focus on the fact that U.S. prisons are so disgusting. Julian Assange will not be extradited.
Oh, this was, it was all happening like while I was sleeping. I woke up and turned on my phone this morning and was like, you and several others were like, dude, they're not extraditing him. And I'm like, I'm assuming this is Julian Assange, but I was just like, this could be anybody. He's not getting extradited. And then I just went through like everybody. I was reading Susie Dawson's timeline because she was sort of like live tweeting as the judge was reading stuff. Which
it's I mean, we'll get into this, but yeah, it's awful.
I'm glad I watched it after the fact because I would have listened to her read this. Go, oh great, here we go. Like she was like, he's done all these awful things. He's a criminal to the world, but they can't extradite him. And I was like,
yeah. I guess we should explain for people that weren't really following it is that so Julian Assange won't be extradited. Well, they'll appeal it, so it's still ongoing. He's still in prison, but so they're not going to extradite. But all of the rest of her judgment is just a horror show of like the U.S. can prosecute journalists no matter where they are in the world because they said something the U.S. doesn't like. This isn't a political prosecution at all, where you're like, how could anyone see this as political? Like, because it's in an ongoing trial in Spain and she thinks you can't know anything until that trial's done, which is horseshit.
So, I mean, this is a victory. And for the millions of people that have worked, yourself, myself, a lot of our viewers who have done anything big or small with regards to trying to free Julian Assange, this is a win. And this is like a global effort. Is pretty I spoke to Susie Dawson this morning, and she's the first person she called. She is Julian's mom, who's like, this woman, Christina Assange, has just not wavered, not given up. She's been tireless, which is pretty amazing. Now, there's the bail hearing Wednesday. So they'll set his bail, and then hopefully he'll get out of this Belmarsh prison, which is pretty horrific. And then, of course, the United States can't appeal, right?
They've claimed said their intent is to appeal. I'm unclear, and having watched several lawyers, there seems to not be a consensus on this, but I don't know if you've maybe seen or heard anything more accurate. That I don't know what the odds are of him getting out Wednesday. I know that there's a chance he could be released on Wednesday on basically free on appeal, whereas they'd say he has to stay in the UK, I assume, or maybe even stay in the London area. But so there's a chance he could get out on Wednesday while the appeal goes on, but I don't know what the odds of that happening are, or how often that happens in UK trials.
I mean, yeah, and even if you had that information, I don't know that stacks up against what this is, because
right.
This woman, this judge, feels like she has been told what to say and do from the get-go, which is why she read that horrific laundry list. But then some other force, like, I find it hard to believe that she was the one who made the decision to not extradite him today. Like, I feel like they've done this once, at least once before, with Lowry Love, the hacktivist. Right.
In 2016, they did basically the same thing, where they were like, oh, yeah, he's a hacker. It's illegal. The U.S. totally has the right to do this. We should send him there to be, locked away forever. But he, has, Asperger's and depression, and he might kill himself, and U.S. prisons are awful, so we won't send him. So it feels like this at least the second time where the UK has used this as an out to not extradite someone who completely should not be extradited, and like everyone knows he would not receive a fair trial at all, which she also claimed he would, which is like fucking laughable. So it feels like it's this loophole for the UK to kind of save face, but also not be part of whatever torture the U.S. would cook up for him when he got there. He got here.
I mean, yeah, there's so many reasons to speculate this. Like, maybe this is the UK's way of saving face with the United States, with the State Department, by going, hey, we tried, but the prisons are bad. So that's why she read all these awful things. He's a criminal, blah, 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 but we're not going to let him get extradited. Or is this some other, somebody went, we don't want Trump to pardon him, because if Trump pardons him, then he's completely free. So we want to kind of keep him in the system until Biden can get sworn in, and then Biden will fry him or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it does decrease the odds of a Trump pardon, but right. I don't know how. It's impossible to know how high those odds were to begin with, because Trump, as much as Trump likes to fuck over, the deep state, the CIA, who, name the people he'd love to fuck over by pardoning Assange. He's also surrounded by people like Pence and Pompeo and all these people that would flay Assange if they could themselves. So I don't know what the odds were Trump was ever going to do that, but yeah, does decrease the odds of that. Yeah, I mean, it seems like people are very optimistic, but they're also acknowledging this is not over. And then there's others who are optimistic about Assange, but say the entirety of this ruling is just, it gave the U.S. everything they wanted outside of Assange. It gave them basically a precedent to say they can go after any journalist anywhere for reporting things they don't like. And it's kind of a horror show for journalism and for free speech.
Yeah, but their vice president's a black woman.
Oh, you know what? I fucking forgot. You are correct. Yes, all is well. Vice President's a black woman.
Yeah, it is really. You read that litany, and it's just like maybe the U.S. just went, well, as long as we get it in writing that any journalist doing anything we don't like, we can lock them up. That's the main thing here. But it's what has also happened is obviously, so Julian's wife and children are in the UK. They have been this entire time, is my understanding. So he'll obviously want to go home to them if he gets bail on Wednesday.
Yeah, Stella Morris. She's also, along with his mom, she's also been great these past couple of years.
But I read too today on Twitter, and I haven't seen this verified, so it might just have been a Twitter thing, but that Mexico said they would grant him asylum.
No, that's been verified. Yeah, Mexico. AMLO has said he would give Assange asylum, which is great. I don't know. I don't know how useful that is, because if there is an appeal, it means Assange would probably still have to stay in the UK anyway. And unless he has somehow secretly escaped to Mexico, but I don't know what the odds of that happening are. And then the other thing someone else was pointing out is like Mexico, there's a lot going on in Mexico. I don't know how, a lot of CIA people down there. I don't know how safe Assange would be wandering around Mexico.
Yeah, I wonder if that was some sort of State Department backdoor, like, yeah, let them come here, where just drug cartels do whatever they want. The CIA is running rampant with the drug cartels and whatever evil shit the CIA is doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, considering how yesterday, and none of us were really shocked that the squad and the Democratic caucus, were the weakest people ever, just all acquiesced to Pelosi yesterday. We weren't really shocked at that.
But you're not a Nancy Pelosi fan? Because I think I'm gonna find a new podcast if you're not a Pelosi fan, because she is awesome.
Do you like ice cream ladies? Then this podcast is for you.
I mean, don't you remember that time that Nancy Pelosi stood up and said, why is it people like her? I can't remember.
Oh, because she's got a D in front of her name and people are idiots. That's it. All it is.
Okay.
She's a thorn in Mitch McConnell's side. No, she's a thorn in working people's sides. She's a thorn in the actual left side. She's a thorn in the side of anything that would help all of us.
As far as I can tell, her entire fame and career is just based on the fact that she can raise a lot of money, and they like that.
And keep some of it. That's why she's worth over $100 million. So right. She's really good at making money for herself, which is like, hey, good for her.
Listen, man, when you got an ice cream habit like that, you got to bring in the dough.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't. I mean, what are you supposed to have? Just only 2 fridges? You got to have 3. You got to have a whole ice cream cave that you have your donors down in. I mean, you have to do a lot of things like that. You need an ice cream steward that comes in.
You see, you gotta have your Cold Stone Creamery chef that's pounding it all together on the cold stone, and plus the mechanism of keeping that cold stone cold is it's very expensive.
And you're not expecting her to like use the same spoon twice, so she gets these silver spoons literally once and then throws them away. Thank God. So that's expensive, and the taxpayer should help pay for that. So
it's true. You got to go through a lot of silver spoons.
Yes. Yeah. So it's great. Yeah. I don't understand that, like, why people just cheer for Nancy Pelosi. Like that it's this team mentality in America. It's unbelievable. So this woman tweeted yesterday. She's like, my boyfriend, this is what my French boyfriend said. When are Americans going to like start burning shit down? Like they keep getting screwed over. Why are they just taking this? Like,
well, we did a little of the burning down in whatever that was, April or something. Yeah. I'd say largely not enough, but we do have a very quick fire department, so the burn didn't spread enough. Right. No, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it. One is, you could go through the list. The fact that most of our country is not, unionized, so you don't have these unions often are able to get together a lot of people to demand things together. And we've got 7% of this country or less is in unions. You have the fact that people that have no time to stand up for things because they're all fucking slaving away at wage slavery jobs and can hardly get 2 minutes to remind their kid what their name is. That's another reason they don't have time to stand up and fight back. We have less of a history of that than, like, say, France or something, of people standing up and fighting back. We've been sold this capitalist ideal that if you're suffering out there, it's not any fault of the system. It's because you didn't work hard enough. You didn't pull yourself up by bootstraps. Rather than the fact that this system is set up to slowly fuck a grand number of people. So
I'm trying to picture that slowly fucking a grand number of people. It sounds like how Teddy Roosevelt would swear at somebody.
Without lube. Without lube.
Go fuck yourself in the grandest of fashions. Bum, 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 and then a horn plays. Like, that's how they used to cut each other out back in the day.
I was just looking for a way to get slowly fucked and grand in the same sentence.
So whatever pool you were in, you won, friend.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Your 2021 is starting off hotly. So that was such a fantastic sentence. Oh God, I would have that like cross-stitched and framed and put over my door, and just so I see that every day before I leave.
The highlight of my week is when I put words together in a way Graham has never heard before.
It's not hard to do. It's not that big of a just put some $10 words together. I'll go, wow, Lee read a book. This is pretty easy to dazzle. Well, let's get into, in honor of Julian Assange not being extradited to the evil American empire, where we both live. Let us read some of the best, our favorite Wikileaks.
Government secret WikiLeaks special episode. Julia not extradited. Lovely grand fuck.
My grand fuck was this old woman I used to have sex with a lot. She was my grand fuck. She was a little old for me, but she kept most of it. Most of the stuff was in the spot it should be. So
thank you for coining a new term. It's like this is like the day somebody came up with MILF. I mean, this is just amazing.
Yeah, this is a big moment.
You heard it first. New phrase. Government secrets.
All right, Lee, do you want to go first with your favorite WikiLeak?
Yeah. So, I mean, this is, since we're talking about government secrets, WikiLeaks has revealed some of the most important and significant government secrets, and the ripples of what's been revealed by WikiLeaks, they keep rippling around the world. It hasn't stopped yet. It helped create movements like the Arab Spring and Occupy. Would not have happened without WikiLeaks revealing to many governments, to many people, what their governments were involved in. And so let's see which one. I'm going to pull out this resource book I have that actually has like a list of like the most important WikiLeaks leaks, and it's just this amazing book I have that has the list here. It happens to be my book.
Nice. So, can you put that back in frame again? Bullet points and punchlines. What a fantastic. Lee, let's say I wanted to buy that for somebody. Like I wanted to get it for my grandfather. Where would I buy that?
Graham, I would send you, for your grandfuck, I would send you a free copy of my book. I really would.
Okay. I'm trying to get you to plug it so people might buy more copies.
I know. It's at leecampbook.com.
All right, guys.
Anyway, it's kind of, I go through the list of some of the biggest revelations from WikiLeaks, and obviously there's the one that people know the most that our mainstream media will often reference if they ever talk about Assange, which at least they're mentioning it today.
Right.
But that's mainstream media to really stand up for WikiLeaks and Assange is truly fucking incredible. But that's one of the ones a lot of people know about. I think, but there's many that people don't know about, such as or at least have forgotten about, such as the Guantanamo Bay Camp Delta standard operating procedures, which basically unveiled a lot of what was going on in Guantanamo Bay, how prisoners were being treated, that they were being hit, that the worst, treated people, the people that were the people that were being tortured the worst, were hidden from Red Cross officials who came to examine the camps. And that many of these people were innocent, meaning that they didn't have charges against them. Right. And yet they were being, of course, tortured. And to this day, Guantanamo Bay still open. Although I think a lot of the activism against it, a lot of the activism that has, at least made it a talking point. Obama said he was going to close it many times, but what got it even to that point where Obama was talking about it, the country was talking about it, is some of these revelations from WikiLeaks. Yeah,
absolutely. And again, that was more of another in a long list of Obama disappointments. But yeah,
which by the way, it seems that the president could literally close Guantanamo Bay without Congress. So the fact that Obama was like, I just can't figure out how to do it is like horseshit.
I could have sworn that was a George W. Bush impression.
Well,
or George H.W.
I think all of my impersonations are either like, it's like I have like two. It's like Southern, which I can do well, or sometimes I can do a Russian accent. But that's all. That's all I got.
Hey, there's Senator Lindsey Graham. Do svidanya. I am Lindsey Graham. No.
Yeah, sometimes I forget which is which, and I'm like...
They're easily confusable. Southern and Russian are very easily confusable.
The South will rise again.
Do you want sweet tea? I'll
tell you what, man, this vodka is the best I've ever had.
Putin brought us stability, brother. I think these are fantastic. I love bad accents. I could do them I love them.
I feel like you've probably got a lot of good accents here.
I'm really good at hello, how are you, mate? Like I have a million of those.
I like that shoulders came involved in that accent.
That's how you sell it. You just put a hello, how are you? Like that sells it. You know what I mean?
Those Cockney folks with their shoulders.
Yeah, they're shoulder talkers. That's how they communicate. Just like the Aussies, how are you, mate? Like it's a couple. One shoulder comes up, down under. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fun. So is there more WikiLeaks from the Guantanamo, or should I go to one?
Yeah, you jump into one. We'll go back and forth if you got some.
Oh, folks, November 2009, WikiLeaks published more than 500,000 paper messages sent within a 24-hour period around the September 11th terrorist attacks that nearly killed 3,000 people. 570,000 messages sent in the 24 hours leading up to 9/11. The message...
Oh, I was sent by who? What do you mean?
Well, the exchanges from Pentagon, FBI, FEMA, and New York Police Department officials. We hope that its entry into the historical record will lead to a nuanced understanding of how this event led to death, opportunism, and war. WikiLeaks said of the release. So,
nice.
It was just showing. First of all, a lot of the chatter before 9/11. So like maybe we could have done something about it. But then,
like bin Laden determined to attack within the US.
Yeah, that one, that like and then it showed also too how a lot of these agencies kind of weren't working together in a sense. And it also just, as it says here, we hope this entrance into the historical record, I'm going to read this again, will lead to a nuanced understanding of how this event led to death, opportunism, and war. Because in it are some of the emails where they're like, yeah, we can, like, this will be good to start bombing the Middle East now. We can use this to our advantage and all this like other shit that's like,
Right.
Like I forget that one. And I know we've talked about it on this show, but there was some conference or convention or something like that in 2000 where somebody said, we just need a Pearl Harbor type event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's like,
yeah. And Rumsfeld, the day before 9/11, declared war on the Pentagon. He said, because he was, he brought the entire Pentagon basically into a meeting, thousands of people or whatever. And said that he was like done with waste and confusion. And anyway, he literally said the sentence like, I'm declaring war on the Pentagon, which some people point to that as like, oh, that proves he was about to shoot a missile at the Pentagon. And I'm like, that actually, I feel like points to him not knowing that the next day there would be a missile to hit the Pentagon.
I think that's might be Rumsfeld just like, I'm the new sheriff's in town. Really? Are you sure? You don't know what's going to happen? I mean, so there's that. This all these messages sent on 9/11, which a lot of people have poured through them, and some of them have used these over 500,000 messages as evidence as to why they think 9/11 was an inside job or all that stuff. But again, it shows to the thing about WikiLeaks that I've always liked and respected is they just dump all of the information. They do redactions only if it's like a person's address or whatever. And they've held this journalistic code better than any organization that I've ever seen. And
yeah. But people are under the impression also that he and WikiLeaks literally did no analysis of whether someone could be like, right, whether a source could be executed because of the revelations. And that's not true. They actually did very careful work. One of the ones that, the thousands of State Department cables or whatever that came out like unredacted or something, which was one thing that they talked about a fair amount in the trial, came out because the Guardian journalist he had worked with after the fact thought that the encryption key didn't matter anymore and published it in his book, like named one of the chapter titles, The Encryption Key. And so then once that encryption key was out, anybody could go and view tens of thousands of documents. So that wasn't Assange. That was this fucking Guardian journalist. But they haven't gone after that guy because that's not the point the U.S. empire is trying to make.
Right. They got to hang it all on Julian Assange.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many things too. And then kind of tied into this a little bit is the Iraq and Afghanistan war documents. This came out in July and October of 2010. In 20, WikiLeaks published a trove of classified documents about U.S. military action. It released more than 90,000 documents related to Afghanistan and later published more than 400,000 documents from the war in Iraq. The documents included information about civilian deaths, the hunt for al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden, and Iran's backing of militants in Iraq. Now, I'm getting this through like a corporate media's filter.
Yeah, you gotta detranslate it, or
you gotta detranslate. It's like, oh, so they're. But again, what WikiLeaks does several things, and this is another fine example. So they 90,000 documents related to Afghanistan war and 400,000 related to the Iraq war. So what it's showing, all of this hidden stuff. It's like, this is where, some of the revelations that like 90% of Obama's drone strikes were hitting civilian targets, how they were hiding civilian death numbers. But then it also shows So when this was dumped, that's the thing that's how awful our corporate media is. It's like when the Pentagon Papers came out in 72 or whatever, or 71, or I forget what year it was, then every news outlet poured through them and really, and since the White House was fighting with Ben Bradley and the Washington Post, they all got behind it to, like, journalist integrity really showed itself of like, wow, we gotta go through these documents.
It was to me, it speaks to like the degree that these organizations were captured by the state apparatus. Like, there was definitely a wink and a nod of we're going to, work with the U.S. government to try and further its aims. But there were still moments like the Pentagon Papers where they would actually do journalism.
Yeah. And it was far more, I mean, they were still pushing a lot of state narratives with Vietnam and all that stuff for sure. But there was that moment where like, oh, wow, we got to do this. And then you cut to, 40, 50 years later. And when these documents get released, the corporate media just kind of goes, oh, WikiLeaks dropped some stuff. And then, oh, by the way, Beyonce's mad or whatever the next story is. It's like they don't.
Yeah.
The journalism today doesn't even go near. They don't even. They'll pick out 2 or 3 things at best from a WikiLeaks dump that's just to further their stuff, or to say, well, see, he's being dangerous again. Like,
yeah, and even to just take it away from WikiLeaks and point to how the media now functions. If you look at what James Risen wanted to report at the New York Times, revealing the torture program under Bush, and basically the national security state came to the New York Times and said, don't publish this because we don't want you to. And if they had published it, it's quite possible Bush would have lost that election, his re-election. But on top of that, it's the New York Times was just like, all right, fine, we won't publish it because you don't want us to, and you're committing war crimes, but we're not going to tell the American people about it. I mean, that's what we've gotten to now, is that literally these journalists, if you call them that, all go to our government to ask them if it's okay, if they'd like them to publish this, and they don't care if the answer is no. And in the few examples where you can see where this isn't the case, it's usually years after the fact. So one of the only times I can think in the past several years that the Washington Post has done like legit adversarial press to our government was the Afghanistan papers that came out earlier this year, I think, or maybe it was the end of last year. But most of what they were saying was past years. Talking about that we've been lied to about Afghanistan for years. And, the fact that they're doing this reporting years later, most of it years later, I mean, some of it was still about the Trump administration, but, it's too late for there to be, in a lot of ways, too late for there to be action on it. And then you have the fact that they reveal, hey, we're being lied to. The American people are being lied to on a steady basis by every president, Obama, Bush, Trump, about what's going on in Afghanistan. And they reveal that, or they say, here's the proof of it. And then they move on. Like you're saying, like the next day, okay, who cares?
I know. And it's like, you would think they would be talking about that for 2-3 years. Oh no, they talked about Russia for 4 years. No, they talked about whatever. Like, again, and this happens not even just with WikiLeaks, but like, oh, the UN comes out and says, we've got 12 years. In 2018, they say we have until 2030 to reverse climate change and we're done. And then they go, yep, that's a UN study. All right, now here's some ads from Raytheon. Like, they just don't, they should be talking about this for years. It's like, I remember when I just watched the movie, the Spotlight movie about the Catholic Church, the pedophile priest cover up in Boston, right? Yeah. And they dropped their first story in January of 2002, and they literally did 3,000 stories about follow-up stories after the big Spotlight drop. They kept calling it out and they didn't let it go. And that's like what how the response, and that was just one paper in Boston. This is 18 years ago, 19 years ago, whatever. And it's like, that's what should have happened with every major news outlet, with the Afghanistan papers, with any of these WikiLeaks dumps. They should have just been on, they should still be talking about it. And it's like, no, they just, they put it out there just so they can say, oh, we covered it. And then, nope.
Right. And so like, if you compare what they did with the Afghanistan papers versus what they did with Russiagate, which has now been almost completely debunked, it's just fallen on its face as nothing there. There's no there. But they did what you should have done with, let's say, the Afghanistan papers. It should have been story today, just day after day after day after day, creating an anger and a fervor in the country. Like, it'd be like, rather than manufacturing consent for war crimes, how about manufacturing consent for stopping these wars? Right. That's what they could be doing. If they had done with the Afghanistan papers, or with many of these, things we're going through the WikiLeaks, what they did with Russiagate, you'd have a completely different sentiment in America.
Yeah, and it's a thing, and I'm going to paraphrase here. It's a quote, I believe, from Julian Assange. That's like, if lies get us into war, then the truth can get us into peace. And that's why the war machine owns the media. Because, like you say, if they went after the Afghanistan papers the way they did the supposed Russian hack, we would be like, people in America would be like, why are we still in Afghanistan? Most people don't even know we're still there. And it's like, no, I've had conversations with people, and I'm like, yeah, we've been there for 19 years. And they're like, whoa. But because the news doesn't reinforce that, when I tell them, I go, it would be like, and I just had this conversation with somebody. I said, it would be as though, imagine if we were still fighting the Japanese in 1960. And they go, wow. I go, yeah. Instead, the Tokyo Olympics in 64 was this big coming out party for this new reformed post-war Japan. It was almost 20 years after the end of the war, and the dropping in the bomb, and like, okay. And we're still just bombing this poor third world country in Afghanistan.
It would be like if we were still fighting North Korea. Oh, wait. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, bad example.
Another example. That's 7 years old. But anyway, this did be
bad example.
Let's come up with something else.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. And now their latest thing, which they've only dropped in the last, within this past month, is we're going to start claiming that we have peace in Afghanistan, but we're going to keep doing the same thing forever. Like, literally, there are like New York Times op-eds that are like, it's time to call what we're doing in Afghanistan peace.
Yeah, we're just going to rebrand it. Just put some new packaging on it. You're still just troops on the ground and bombing and killing people. Yeah. But we're calling that peace. Oh, all right. Can I punch you in the mouth and we call it a blowjob?
Who gets the most out of that? Who gets to brag about that to their friends?
Yeah. I got teeth marks on my knuckle. I had this great blowjob.
I think there was a bit of confusion as to how it works.
I wasn't sure what the term meant. I didn't know if it was actual blowing. I was like, I didn't know. So, but I'm pretty sure it happened. I mean, I can't call it.
Hey, I'll be honest. It was my first, but I think I'll get better.
Oh, what other WikiLeaks do you have, Lee Camp?
All right. Well, to step away from just America, which a lot of the important documents that WikiLeaks has released have been about the United States. Part of that is because we think we own the world and have 1,000 military bases around the world. We tend to have more shit going down that needs revealing. But a lot of people think that, Julian Assange just hated America and was only revealing, information about America. And it's absolutely not true. WikiLeaks has revealed information about secretive governments around the world. And so to go through a few of them here, they posted videos of Tibetan dissidents in China, videos that were not allowed to be viewed in China. They revealed the Peru oil scandal. They revealed that Russia was spying on their own citizens' cell phones. The Minton report on toxic dumping in Africa, the Syria files showing the inner workings of the Syrian government. WikiLeaks displayed to the global audience the secret Australian Supreme Court gag order, which Australia, obviously Assange's home country, Supreme Court gag order that stopped the Australian press from reporting on a huge bribery scandal that involved the central bank and international leaders. And let's say, but they revealed things about so many countries around the world. As long as WikiLeaks got the information, they worked to put it out there. It takes a lot of work to put these things out. They didn't just, contrary to what a lot of people believe, they didn't just receive, hey, here's a new 10,000 documents. Okay, bloosh. No, they actually spent
Send,
publish. They spent fucking weeks and hours and hundreds of man hours or human hours, I guess it is now, woman hours, going over these documents to make sure they were A, legit, B, could be revealed to the world without people being executed, and they did. They revealed a shitload about a lot of countries. Oh, the Barclays. They revealed things about the Barclays Bank that they had a scam where they were basically stealing £1 billion a year via tax loopholes, and Barclays obviously heavily connected to the UK government, so there's something else that the UK government was thoroughly not happy about. So this is why Assange is hated by governments around the world.
Oh, yeah. And again, it's also, too, when they were like, oh, Assange was just helping Trump win. It was like, you know how many stories they've done on Russia and Russian corruption and Putin's corruption and the oligarchs of Russia's corruption. I mean, because they get information from, they've done stuff on corporations all over the world. I mean, they've done it's this notion that they just had it in for Hillary is so just ridiculous to me. It's just like, no. Her and her husband are really corrupt. So there's just a lot of information.
Well, there's a lot of information, but also when you're corrupt within our government, there are generally tons of people with access to various email accounts, tons of emails flying to various departments and things like that. So it's more likely you're going to have this stuff revealed at some point, or a portion of it, let's say a small portion of it, revealed at some point. Whereas Trump was not at that point, had never been in government. Trump was an individual with private companies. And, we've seen how tough it is just to get his tax returns, because his secrets at that point were not shared with a lot of people. Whereas now he's in government and literally shit is being leaked about him. So, at the point he was running for office, there weren't that many leaks to be had about Trump. Not to mention the stuff that was already public about him was pretty fucking damning. Like, it didn't have to go through WikiLeaks to find out about Stormy Daniels and everything.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Because when you go into office, there's a bunch of transparency, supposedly, where they get to scour all your bank accounts and all that other stuff. And yeah, man, that's such bullshit the way they've gone after WikiLeaks. But I want to talk about by the way, it's pager messages. I said paper, and the 573,000, they were pager messages.
That actually makes more sense, because who sends were they sending postcards about what happened in 9/11?
That'd be really weird.
Everybody at the FBI was like, get your pens and postcards out.
I haven't seen that word in so long. I just rewrote it. I was like,
you probably thought, what is a pager? Is that like a book with pages?
Yeah, I don't get it. Is that like a guy? Is that like somebody that likes libraries? Oh, he's a pager. He really likes turning pages or something. I don't know what that means. But I want to talk about this one. British National Party members. In 2008, WikiLeaks published the names, addresses, and contact information of more than 13,000 members of the British National Party. The political party's manifesto proposed banning immigration from Muslim countries and encouraging some UK residents to return to their lands of ethnic origin, which is like, oh, wow. Again, another government they went after. But this one I really wanted to talk about because it affected, this is one again where there was what was the whole crux of the leak and then how the media handled it, which is the Sony Pictures hack, right? That came out in 2015.
Oh yeah, where they were connected. Was it connected to that movie?
Yeah. It was 170,000 emails, 20,000 documents from movie studio Sony Pictures was published in WikiLeaks in 2015. They suffered a cyber attack weeks before releasing a film that poked fun at North Korea, which was that Seth Rogen movie. Now,
right. And you know what? Listen, whatever you're about to tell us about that hack, I was just really, it meant a lot to me. And I was just really excited to see somebody go after North Korea because
this country with one nuke that's in a barn. There's such a threat.
There's such a threat, and B, it's like no one ever mocks or goes after North Korea. Like they're just held up as this perfect shining country on the hill. And it was nice to see Hollywood finally take some of that big money, big comedy money, and poke some fun of North Korea.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah.
A poor country run by a crazy person, they need to be mocked, not helped, mocked. So here's what came out in the media was all these just sort of emails of studio execs saying catty things about actors or talking about someone's salary, like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Adams receives lower fees than their male co-stars in American Hustle. Okay. All right. And they,
because that is, ironically, that's the American Hustle.
That is the American Hustle right there.
To pay women less.
What is in there that I uncovered doing my Epstein stuff was all the stuff talking about like Ghislaine Maxwell giving a blowjob to George Clooney at a Hollywood party. All of the like Epstein and Weinstein connections to Hollywood. Gee, that didn't come out. They only revealed the like, oh, this producer said something catty about Angelina Jolie, and they didn't reveal like all of the awful, evil inner workings.
How did you find that? Did you just do like a search for Maxwell's name?
Yeah, it was a story when I covered it last year when I was going into Maxwell, who she was, and it really started to reveal everything. They were going through all the evidence in this one. And all this creepy like the ties. Well, first of all, Harvey Weinstein donated somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.3 million to all these big Democrats, Hillary, Obama, Joe Biden.
And there's all these photos of them. So happy to meet him. So happy to be next to him.
All hanging out. But Epstein had ties because he, would in addition, the main recruiting tool that Epstein and all these parasites like Peter Nygaard and Jean-Luc Brunel, they were all in the fashion world. So that was the main way of like trafficking girls was they'd say, they go to some 14-year-old girl and say, do you want to be a famous model? But there was some of this was revealed in just talking about Epstein at parties and Epstein wanting to fund movies. So they were also doing that, trying to get children through Hollywood, like same tactic. We'll make you want to be in this famous movie if you're 16 and you come from a low income family and your parents don't know where you're at or whatever. They would use tactics through Hollywood, and the Sony Pictures hack opened some of that up. That you were like, oh wow, and you really see. Then this is back up.
Funny because I'm like on that story. I'm kind of one of your average Americans where I didn't actually look into it, and I just remember them like all the reporting was just like Jennifer Lawrence is getting paid less, and there's an email from someone saying so and so looks hot. Like it was they totally buried the lead.
They buried all that shit. The only thing that made it to the light of day through the corporate media was all that, oh, Angelina Jolie is too old, or some just catty nonsense that was just like, reality TV type gossip, where underneath it was real awful shit, man. I mean, it showed, and other things, and this was backed up by the flight logs with Epstein. It's like Chris Tucker, Naomi Campbell. This is also backed up by Virginia Roberts Giuffre, at Epstein events, participating and stuff like that, on Epstein's plane. And, there's just, you see how, of course, Epstein would want to be in the movie business. First of all, he needs to, I mean, if you know the way he operated, it was, and by the way, I think we've gone a month without me talking about Epstein. So I think I've been pretty good here.
I'm proud of you. Yeah, no, you're free to to swing for the fences here, because you've done very well.
Thank you. I just wanted to honor that.
I feel like I have a dog and he hasn't humped the couch in like a month, and so I'm gonna let him go at it.
Yeah, this is me like a dog humping a couch for sure. It's a perfect analogy. It's perfect. But
I know for me, it's like mentioning children being obliterated.
Right.
I got to hold off on that.
I know it's a we all got to go bite size. But it shows like what the Sony emails dumped just kind of backed up flight logs and Epstein victim reports of various high profile people. Because again, this is what Epstein would do, is he would get powerful people, videotape them, with an underage girl, and then use that as leverage. And then they would invest in his fake hedge fund. And so what some of the Sony hacks showed was that, and it's not definitive. I can't draw a complete straight line, but to me,
right.
It's on a lot of it, it's like, oh, it sounded like maybe Epstein was trying to fund movies for his awful, creepy bullshit. So that's another one.
It's kind of, I mean, I guess this is probably half the reason he was killed, but it's kind of amazing that with him arrested and then dead, that none of these videos or anything have come out. But I guess that's part of the plan.
Yeah, none of them have come out. And we also have seen no mugshots of Ghislaine Maxwell, Peter Nygaard, or Jean-Luc Brunel, the most recent guy arrested. No, there's no mugshots anywhere on the internet.
Who are the two you said after Maxwell?
Peter Nygaard is basically he's been dubbed by the media as he's a Canadian Epstein. He's this Canadian billionaire that had a similar creep island.
Oh, yeah.
With some of the same jackasses, Prince Andrew and celebrities and all this other crap. And then Jean-Luc Brunel was basically a very good friend of Epstein. And he just got arrested in Paris. But there's no mugshots, to my knowledge, of any of them. And how come anytime any celebrity gets arrested for any reason, we see a mugshot immediately? So I'm a little curious here as to why we can't see mugshots. Wouldn't you want to show?
Yeah, and like when celebrities get arrested, usually there's like public press conferences, their lawyers are speaking to people. Like you do generally hear a lot of what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, but it's COVID. Yeah, but you still took a mugshot that you can file. You could send to them as a press release. So I find this I'm very curious to see what's going to happen with them, because there was a Zoom court trial for Maxwell over the summer when she got arrested. And there was just a sketch drawing of it, but some reporters said they watched her and saw her, but I'm like, why can't we see this footage? So
where does her trial stand right now?
When she got arrested in July, they said her trial is going to happen July of 2021. So they put her trial a year from now, which gives her a lot of time to hang herself with a paper t-shirt. So I just really like it's really odd how this is happening. And then Brunel and Nygaard all get busted. They got busted within a couple weeks of each other. And which is, I'm like, great. And the victims were like, thank God. But again, I've never seen any celebrity arrest where we don't see something in the back of a squad car, something, some perp walk, something. There's nothing. There's no evidence of any of this. They're telling us this. So I don't know. She was just denied bail. She made some crazy $30 million bail and that her husband would put up, but he's not even like a real husband because she's like, the conditions in prison aren't nice. Oh, I'm sorry. So she wanted to have an ankle bracelet.
She's like, there's like hardly any women that I'm allowed to traffic in here.
Oh, I don't get a spa. This is medieval. Yeah. So she wanted to be under house arrest in some fucking mansion that she owns. It's like, and the judge denied it, thankfully. But yeah. So anyway, that's another WikiLeaks connection.
And yeah, interesting. Well, I know we're almost getting to the end here. I'll just throw two more in. One, which hopefully people have heard about, was the CIA Vault 7 that came out from WikiLeaks, which I think was like that. It was like the icing on the cake for like how much the deep state wants to crush Assange. He was already in the Ecuadorian embassy, I believe, but they were like, all right, now we may just drone bomb the Ecuadorian embassy. It revealed all of like a lot of the CIA's hacking tools. One thing which is definitely useful to know is it revealed that they have and use the ability to go in, hack somewhere, and then they have like programs and software where they can leave, fingerprints of another country. So they go in and hack something and leave, Russian fingerprints or Chinese fingerprints. So that it looks like it was done by someone else, which, shocking that they would use that ability. It sounds like it should be a given. Yet then the State Department says like, oh, we saw that, there was a Russian script in the software. So that means Russia did it. And then all of our fawning corporate media goes, oh my God, Russia did it.
And no one will ask the obvious question of, wait a minute now, because of WikiLeaks Vault 7, shouldn't we ask the question of, did the CIA make it look like Russia? They will never ask that question.
Right.
It's been proven that that's what they do.
Can't even be proposed that that's a possibility. The CIA Vault 7 also revealed that they have and use the ability to hack into smart TVs and listen to you in your home. Because smart TVs are... For those of you listening at home, Graham just took a long look at his plasma behind him.
Yep, my smart TV has been listening for a while. Even when it's unplugged or turned off, they can listen. Or it's got to be unplugged. If it's turned,
I don't know about unplugged, but it can be off and not have a light on, so it looks as if it's off, and it's still listening to you. So. They can just basically, you've bugged your own house, which is the same thing people have done with Ring doorbells and that stuff, and Amazon Echo and all that shit. You're bugging your own house.
Jesus.
They even there's like talking Barbie, where your kid can talk to their Barbie and it has proper responses to say back to them. But in order to do that, Barbie is sending that information to Google or Amazon or whatever the fuck to be analyzed. So even the talking Barbie is like, it's like grabbing your child's every sentence and saving the data and learning about them, which is fucking horrifying.
Why do you need that? Like, I'm just like, boy, once we know what they say to their Barbies, then we'll really get it. Like, what is like, how insane is this?
Well, that's how sick our consumerist fucking society has gotten, in that they want to know what your 4-year-old talks about, because they've found out that the nag factor in advertising is very significant. So if you advertise to a child and then the child says to the parent, I want this thing, it's very effective. And so this helps them to learn how to turn your own children against you.
Oh God, I wish I was somewhere in the NSA headquarters and I could just program this Barbie to just go think for yourself or whatever. Just like tell the child like, don't listen to any adults. They're all liars or whatever.
I am teaching you antiquated gender roles.
Yeah. Medicare for all. End the wars. Like that'd be awesome. Just some subversive shit like that. Just telling 4-year-old kids.
That would be. There should be manipulation and propaganda towards a better society.
Yeah, I'm down with. Like, because this is just. And then there's a room full of analysts going through the Barbie conversations. Like, what the fuck? What a waste of our money. And they recruit all these big brains. I mean, obviously, if you read like Snowden's story or whatever, he was this highly intelligent guy. So there's people like that who's, gee, I wonder if we had took that brain power and put it towards, I don't know, ending climate collapse to save the human race. Like,
oh my God. Yeah. I often think about that. If you took the people and the amount of time and mental effort that corporations put into how to best sell something or how to rebrand something or how to create this completely meaningless product that you don't really need but make you think you need it, and you took all of those people and you said, hey folks, so the planet Earth is going to die in about 10 years, humanity's on the brink, let's all get together and do nothing other than work on how to solve this. It's like, I think we could, it'd be, I'm going to say 30 to 40 minutes. We'd have it fixed.
We'd have it locked down like in an afternoon. It'd be like, all right, hey guys, we figured out after we just broke for lunch and we're going to reverse climate change and fix the 5 islands of floating garbage. We're going to fix those and everything's going to be good. We're going to have better air quality and nobody's going to ever need a gas car ever again. We fixed it. It's all good. Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Like,
see you tomorrow. And then the last one I'll give is, although there are plenty of others, so I highly recommend people look into these, but is revealing some of the chapters of these trade deals. I know we've covered trade deals on a previous episode, saying that trade deals are basically used to minimize the risk of democracy for corporations, and corporations are now both as powerful. Some of the corporations, like Amazon, are as powerful as most countries, but on top of that, they, for the most part, own our government. So what they want is what generally gets done, and trade deals stop them from having to worry about any kind of democracy, people getting together and voting for something that doesn't work for multinationals. And these trade deals, Trans-Pacific Partnership, TTIP, TISA, they were slowed down or stopped. In the case of Trans-Pacific Partnership, stopped thanks to activists and people fighting back and demanding that we not enter this horrific trade deal. And WikiLeaks was and these things are incredibly secretive. Whatever level of secretive you think a trade deal is, it's far worse than that. Congress, which is supposedly approving the Trans-Pacific Partnership, was not allowed to see it until like the final months. And even then, they had to make an appointment, show up to a special room where they could view the multi-thousand-page document for 1 hour, not allowed to bring any recording devices, any phone, any photography, any pencil, any paper, and try and analyze this document to figure out what the fuck it was doing to the American people and the country as a whole. And that's how secretive it was. But luckily, WikiLeaks was able to publish some of the chapters, and that gave activists, the ammo needed to stop it. And we succeeded for 4 years. Now, I imagine Biden's going to sign on to it, but still, four more years of not ceding our national sovereignty to corporations.
I feel like it's already happened. I feel like we're already living in rollerball, but I hope there's just some sort of stay. Well, all right, dude. I think, is that our app? Is that GovSeeks app 2.3? Is that it?
I'm happy with what we've done here. I ended up with tooth marks on my fist, so I think that means I did it right. I've had a good time. And
I've been humping the couch. It's been fantastic. I mean, this has really been really good. We learned new words today.
grand fuck is
We learned what that is today. I think we've educated people. We learned different uses for blowjob. And so this has been a
Government Secrets, episode 23. Put it in the books. Pew, pew, pew. Thank you, Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Pew, 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 pew.
Thank you, Assange, and thank you everybody who's fought for Assange. And now we've got to continue that fight because he's not free yet. So
he's not free yet. Yeah, anyone out there that's ever posted, tweeted, hashtag free Assange, been involved in any of this thing, literally millions of people around the world have been fighting for this. So a little bit of a victory today. We should enjoy it, but also keep fighting, as Lee's saying. So yeah, all my stuff's at GrahamElwood.com. You can watch and listen to The Political Vigilante. And of course, this show is on iTunes and Spotify, Government Secrets, and on both Lee and I's YouTube channels. And then, Lee, where can people see all your stuff?
All my stuff is at leecamp.com. The book, which some of which I was quoting from, is at leecampbook.com. It has an intro by Jimmy Dore and a foreword by Chris Hedges. And yeah, leecampbook.com. And then I have another podcast called Uncensored. I have a TV show called Redacted Tonight. You can find them all at leecamp.com.
Right on, guys. So like, share, and subscribe to Government Secrets. Get the word out there so we can do more of these.
Thanks, man. I will see you soon.
All right, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/GrahamElwood and rockfin.com/GrahamElwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.